Hello, welcome back. All right, today we're going to be going over operations with complex numbers. So, yesterday we went over the imaginary unit I. Today we are going to add and subtract complex numbers. Yay! Okay, so when adding complex numbers, we add the real parts together and we add the imaginary parts together. So, here we have the real part, which is the real number 3 and 8. And then we add the imaginary parts together. So it's just like combining like terms. Here we have 7i and 11i, and we're going to combine those. So let's try that one out. So let's combine 3 and 8. So we get 11. And then we're going to combine 7 and 11. So we get 18i. Okay. So for the imaginary part, we add the real number part of the imaginary part. All right, here we go. Now we're going to subtract complex numbers, so be sure to distribute that subtraction sign and then add the like terms. So this is important because this is saying 5 plus 10i and you're subtracting this. Okay, so we're saying we're subtracting the 15 and we're subtracting a negative 2i. So that is why we distribute this negative. Okay, so this can be written as 5 plus 10i minus 15, and then minus a negative means we're going to add the 2i. Okay, and then we're going to combine like terms. So we're going to we're going to add the real parts. So here we have 5 minus 15, which gives us a negative 10. And then we are going to combine the imaginaries, or the imaginary part. Okay, so we have 10i plus 2i, which is positive 12i. So far, so good. Okay, so now we're going to add or subtract. So here we have two imaginary numbers being added together, and this is how we add them together. So this is what I'm going to do. So this is the imaginary part, and what I'm essentially doing is adding 7 plus 9. Okay, that means 7 plus 9 is 16, and it's the imaginary unit. Okay, so let's try this next one. Excuse me. So here I have negative 5, and we're adding a positive 2. So that's how I'm going to write it over here. I have a negative 5 plus 2. Okay, and then I'm going to combine the imaginary part together. So here I have a 6i and a negative 11i. 6 is positive. So here I have 6 minus 11 and I, right? So negative 5 plus 2 is negative 3, and here 6 minus 11 is negative 5i. Okay, here I have a negative to distribute. 2 plus 3i minus 4 minus 2i. Okay, so I'm going to combine the reals. So this gives me a negative 2. And then I'm going to combine the imaginary parts. So I can write this as plus 1i or negative 2 plus I. These two are equivalent, but you'll see this more often. Right. So what I suggest here is you pause the video and try these. I know these are a little bit more maybe, well, not complicated, but they're a little different. Here we have a fraction, here we have some square roots, and here we have 3 different terms or 3 different parts being added together. Okay, so try them out and then we'll come back and check to see how you did. All right, so here I'm going to add these two together. Okay, so here I have 14. Here I have the imaginaries plus 1i, which I could just write as I. All right, so here we have a negative. I have to distribute the negative first. So I'm going to rewrite this as 1/2 minus I minus 5 over 2 minus 9i. Okay, so first I'm going to add the reals together. So 1/2 minus 5/2. 1/2 minus 5/2 plus, and then I do the imaginary one. The imaginary part I combine. So this is a negative I or negative 1i. So I can write this as negative 1 minus 9. All right, so here I have, I can just add the numerators because I have common denominators. So 1 minus 5 is negative 4 over 2. And here I have plus negative 10i. And I can simplify here. Negative 4 divided by 2 is negative 2. And I could just write this as negative 10i. Excuse me. All right, and the reason I did this for this one is because this is what I'm going to use here. Because at first, my class looked at this and said, oh my God, what are we going to do? Okay, and I say, well, just do the same thing you've been doing. So let's do that. I combine the real parts. So here I have, I'm going to put the 2 first. 2 plus square root of 2. Plus, I'm going to add the imaginary part. All right, so the imaginary part is negative 7i and the positive square root of 3i. Okay, so that means I have negative 7 plus the square root of 3. Okay, and now we can do, on the calculator, we can punch in 2 plus square root of 2, but I want an exact answer, so I could just leave it like this. Okay, this is the real part being added together and the imaginary parts being added together, but we're adding the real part of the imaginary part. Sounds like a lot, right? All right, here we go. Let's distribute this negative. 8 minus 5i minus 3 minus 5i minus 5 plus 10i. Right, so here we go. 8 minus 3 minus 5 gives me 0. And then negative 5 minus 5i. So negative 5i minus 5i is negative 10i. And then I'm going to combine it with the positive 10i. But 10 plus a negative 10 is just 0. Oops. I can actually do plus 0i. Okay, which is just 0. And if you're being asked to write it in a plus bi form, then this would be the correct way to write that. Okay? But I'll accept both. Okay, I'm going to skip this set here. So, and just so you know, all real numbers are complex. So 3 can be written as 3 plus 0i. And all imaginary numbers are complex. So here I have the imaginary number 7i, and I could write it complex form, 0 plus 7i. Again, treat the I as a variable. You will have no problems, okay? So just make sure you treat it like a variable and you're just combining like terms. Okay, so you do have a homework assignment. It's a Delta Math assignment called Operations with Complex Numbers. Okay, I think you have about maybe 5 or 6 to complete. And that is it. So I will see you next time and send me a Schoology message if you have any questions. Bye.